The first thing we're going to do in learning about Tableau is learning how to connect to the data. So the first thing we want to do is we want to tell Tableau that we are working with this particular Excel spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet is called Tableau Training 2.0, and you should all have access to that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into Tableau, and we're going to click Connect to a File, Excel. Alright, and now we simply click on the appropriate spreadsheet. In this case, it's the Tableau Training 2.0 document, and we're going to open that up. So the first thing that we're going to notice as soon as Tableau Public opens is that this particular interface doesn't have any data in it. And the reason why is that we need to tell Tableau which worksheet within the overall spreadsheet we're going to be working with. So for right now, we're going to start with pivoting data. This is going to be our first lesson. So pivoting data means that we're going to turn the data from an easily readable human format, or a format that a lot of governments like to publish in, and turn it into a format that Tableau can easily read and manipulate. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click and drag this worksheet into the Drag Sheets Here field. Now if we go back to the original Excel sheet, we're going to notice that the pivoting data sheet has a header, has an endnote, and also has data arranged in what's known as a wide format, meaning that we have columns of information and we have rows of information. And the columns are the years and the rows are the locations. Now this is what's known as the wide format, but Tableau and other programs such as Data prefer a long format, meaning that each column is simply a different type of information and each row is a singular observation. So as we can see, each row holds multiple observations here. We have the median wage for 1979 and the median wage for 1980, both for the United States, all in row 6. Tableau prefers one observation per row. So what that means is we're going to have to break this down and turn it from a table to something called the long format, which is what we're going to see in a minute. Alright, but first things first, something doesn't really look right in our table. We have a bunch of nulls, and we still have these headers and footers, which we don't want. So we're going to click the Use Data Interpreter. We're going to check that, and Tableau is going to automatically get rid of those headers and footers, and it's going to try to figure out which rows or pieces of information are headers. Now, really quickly, a quick note, I'm using Tableau Public, but many of you will be using Tableau Desktop, so the data interpreter will not be here. It will be right here above data source order, or perhaps besides. Okay, so now we have the table as it appears in our spreadsheet. Let's rename this location. And now we need to turn this into a long format. So we don't want the years to be the headers. We want years to have its own column. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight this particular column. We are going to press and hold down the Shift key, and while holding down the Shift key, we are going to click and drag the slide bar all the way to the end and highlight 2016. So what that did is that just highlighted all of the information from 1979 to 2016. Now what we're going to do is we are going to click the drop-down menu on 2016 and click Pivot. So what this did is this turned our information from a table, what the original format was, into a compressed 3 columns. And now if you'll notice, in our original sheet, we have one row for the United States and one row for all of the other states and regions. Now, in the long format, we have multiple United States. And the reason why is because each row represents a singular observation. So this is the United States in 1979, this is the United States in 1980, and so on and so forth. So we're going to rename this pivot field year, and we're going to rename this pivot field median wage.